everyone was kind of in shock when that happened. What was that decision for you, and what was it like to join 343?
It's interesting. At first, to be honest, when in 2008 I was living in Texas. I was working with Kenneth Scott, and we were working on Rage, the game Rage that was released quite a few years afterwards. It was released in 2011, but I left around 2008, and I was like kind of really fed up of living in Texas. I was exhausted. I was just not in my shoes, and I said, I'm gonna go back to France for a while. And at first, when Microsoft contacted me through Kenneth Scott, that was actually already on the franchise, I was like, I don't think I'm really interested. But they convinced me, and at one point, I just visited them in Seattle, and I said, this is an awesome place. It's an awesome early project that was the very early phases of Halo 4, and I told myself, let's just go. And this was around 2008, end of 2008. And since then, I've been part of 343.
It's so cool. I would love to hear a bit about what a day in the life is like for you. We all know the projects, we all know the work, but what is it like for you from the time you get up till the time you stop working? Do you have a strict morning routine that you do before work? And what point are you diving in?
Are you talking, Banks, about the new life we have or the previous life we have?
I'm so glad you brought that up because that was my follow-up question. But can we first talk about the legacy of this before the apocalypse, and then we could talk about 2020 after that.
For quite a few years, I mean, the first phases of my participation and contribution to Halo was being a senior concept artist. Super fast, I became a lead concept artist, and I was taking care of everything concept related for Halo. And obviously, each Halo is different. Halo 4 was the mandate of Halo 4. It was not the mandate of Halo 5. It's not the mandate of Halo Infinite. Each game is different, and we have to adapt to a franchise that is evolving, but that needs to be grounded back into legacy when it comes to Halo Infinite, for example. And this is one of the things that I've been making sure it happens. But Halo 4, for example, was a very different project, to be honest. Halo 4 was, you have to renew Halo, and you need to just, be crazy and spearheading something kind of different, And so every time there's these requests that are just like ever changing when it comes to the mandates. Now, to go back to my job, and my daily job at that time was like to literally, first of all, not be very health oriented, which is I was not working out, I was not doing a lot of sport at all, and I was just like basically my chair to work was my best friend, and I would have my butt on it like many hours a day. That has changed now, and obviously I am working out now, and I'm in a better phase and place when it comes to how much I need to think about health. But at that time, I was just like not really caring much. I was working my ass off when it comes to concept. Obviously, we had through the years many amazing concept artists that as a lead concept artist, I was suggesting things, I was giving feedback. My daily job was to basically try to have a ratio between my personal production and contribution to Halo and to each game. But at the same time, I was giving a lot of feedback and making sure that we would all be like moving forward in the same direction. The thing I need a small note when it comes to a franchise like this. I've never considered that a specific, very specific type of art needed to just always be funneled through a franchise. For example, if I think the best way to put it is that as a concept artist, I made sure that each concept, whether they'd be line art, whether it'd be digital, at one point we had Paul Richard that actually came and worked on the franchise for quite a few years. He was still sketching on paper, and everything was fine with me. What I mean is that each artist comes with a different technique and a different luggage, and I was making sure, and my job was making sure that everything would be having the Halo spirit and and it needed to just be on par with the demand But at the same time, I was just not really minding if it was black or white or color or anything. And that was what made all the contribution and participation through the years so exciting, because uh, thinking outside of the box is that it's also making sure that we have 8, 10 artists, concept artists, and they all come with different techniques and different styles. We make sure that it's going to be fully embedded into the needs we have, but at the same time, they keep their own personality. And I've always been very interested into that. To go back to the personal day pace, obviously different today, but it is a fact that since 2014 approximately, as an art director, my job is different. My contribution on the production side is not truly the same. And I've been still sketching and painting through the years. Less now, because obviously, as you may expect, the schedules we have and the very meeting-oriented days we have are not allowing me to just like sketch as much as I would want and paint as much as I would want. But it's still nonetheless exciting. And I'm always saying I have the energy and the punch to continue even after 11 years on a franchise that is just like so vital and important. And I'm fine with that.
I want to touch on this. You talk about the Halo spirit. I think out of anyone, the person who I really want to know what does the Halo spirit mean is from you. How do you define Halo as a visual style? How do you define the Halo spirit?
Military-oriented science fiction shooter where the military nature prevails, and in which it's still embedded into a very space opera-oriented storytelling experience. And that is really vital. Now, I could jump on the MP side and see how much this is vital when it comes to the perfection of the gameplay style. I'm not a game designer, so I don't want to jump into things where you have other experts that are going to be a better job at describing this. But the spirit and the intertwined visuals of Halo is very specific. Yes, I think it is. It is a very when you look at Halo, in a bit like you'd have the inspiration into Larry Niven's Ringworld or even Starship Troopers as a movie. It is a very American-centric. It's funny that I'm saying this being French, but I lived in the U.S. for quite some years, even when I was a kid. And so I've been kind of a bit of that weird French-American dude, like hopping from one country to the next. But it's true that Halo is a very American-centric franchise. In a lot of ways. When I say American, from a science fiction standpoint, it is a space opera oriented franchise in the same way that Star Wars is when it comes to movies. It is having the same foundations, the foundations of a huge universe that is expandable and in which a lot of things can happen. You have drama, you have a lot of things, you have connections, you have Master Chief and Cortana, you have a lot of things going on that make these story experiences be something that are vital. I mean, put that back into the legacy of Halo when it comes to the hundreds of thousands of players that do remember and the moments of everything going on storytelling-wise. It is way more than a shooter. It's been as Star Wars to a movie. It's been the same for games when it comes to Halo, and it's something that is also very complex, as you may guess, because people have very fond memories. They are very sometimes strict about what Halo needs to be and what it needs to represent. That's the whole Pandora box of discussions we could have, and it is very complicated, obviously. But I'm always wanting to believe that it's been a bit of a labor of focus and love when it comes to how much we can contribute to something that will be in the future legacy oriented and connected to the history of that franchise. And I'm making sure that it is.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And talking about just those moments that are ingrained in people's minds, I can think of more than a dozen just iconic moments of Halo storytelling that really stuck with you, but also moments of just visual awe-inspiring moments of seeing these vast new worlds and these new landscapes. There's a question in the chat, and actually it was going to be my next question, but Diego Hope asks, in Halo, you always see an evolution in design, and it's great to see that in a big franchise. what is that like when you're trying to push the envelope? You have a big franchise, you have millions of players who have such a invested feeling on this franchise. What's the creative process when you're trying to evolve it, but you also want to keep that spirit of Halo alive?
I think that you know, it's very interesting. What happens is that from a direction standpoint, a lot of franchises either don't listen to their fans or they listen to their fans. I think that it took us quite a few years as a studio at 343 to understand what it meant to really truly listen to fans in a way that is just not going to be either toxic or stressful or aggressive, but where it's going to be constructive. And constructive fan feedback is something that the studio has been putting together for quite a few years, and I think we became really good at that to make sure that we're going to be moving that franchise in the right direction. Obviously, I can't say much about either the structure or Halo itself because it is something that I'm not allowed to really talk about. But when it comes to the history of it, this is still something that there's a lot to say about it. The funny, interesting detail is that I really come from the marathon days, and marathon for me, it was big, of course, obviously, but the marathon days for me are even more crazy because 1994, you can really see the DNA of Halo when it comes to a lot of the designs that Bungie provided for Marathon. It is the early birth of Halo is actually in Marathon in a lot of ways, and I find that kind of fascinating because I was totally embedded and literally fascinated and addicted to Marathon. And it's funny to know that after quite a few years, you are going to be working on that franchise and trying to make it evolve in the best way. When I was 20 something, I remember that I was reading the Greg Bear novels, Aeon, and Greg Bear was actually started writing for Halo and did a trilogy that I actually illustrated starting around 2010. In what world can you imagine that you first read the books of your favorite sci-fi writers, and 20 years afterwards you start painting the covers for these same sci-fi writers? You meet them and you can befriend them and have crazy chats about what science fiction in a very, again, North American way, what it is representing. So that I cannot be more thankful for that type of experience and the history and my humble participation on that has been for quite a few years. I could not be more happy about that.
Well, Sparth, thinking about how for the last 6 years now you've been the art director over the Halo franchise, let's talk about leadership from there. As an artist who is so celebrated as your personal art career, what kind of goal setting and how do you communicate goals to your team when you're kicking them off on things?
That's an interesting one. I think I'm always trying to, like I was saying earlier, making sure that the artist's personality. First of all, when you have an artist joining a franchise like this, like 343, there's always a reason. What I mean that they come because they have a luggage and something to provide. So in a way, this is the step one is you don't come to a team like this or to any other teams if you don't have anything to provide and that you really are not a personality fit. So it is a fact that you already work with the expectations that these friends and colleagues are going to be performing to their best, and they do. The thing when it comes to management, I have two keywords. And this is something that I've been applying at Microsoft, like in any other situations into either other companies I was working for when it comes to either Ubisoft and even before that. But it's true that as a director, you are expecting a lot out of people, and at the same time, you want them to be growing. The two keywords I have is talent and diplomacy. It's really these two words that are going to be the backbone of your participation to a big franchise or to any type of IP. Talent, this is an obvious one. So I'm not gonna just go so on that. I'll go fast. Talent is about what you can contribute to. I always believe that you need to be good everywhere, but an expert somewhere. So whether you do 3D, 2D characters, environments, anatomy, weapons, vehicles, it's you gotta be multi-talented. That's a sure fact. But there's one field where you have to be better than everybody else. And if it's environment, fine. If it's characters, fine. But there's one field where you need to be spearheading an even better effort than the next guy. Not to be crushing, but to be there with an intent and an idea. So that's what I see talent for. That's the talent phase. Diplomacy, another straightforward one, but diplomacy is all in the way you embed yourself and insert yourself into a team. And how much you're going to be smart at listening as much as you can provide feedback. This is vital when it comes to a lot of younger artists that are going to be in the future hired by a big group like Microsoft or Google or Amazon or any of the big tech companies that are wanting people to be embedding themselves into a lot of big teams. And this is vital. It has to do with diplomacy. It's listening as much as you can provide feedback and as much as you can talk yourself. But if you are too much of a stepping and hitting your shoes into a meeting and just not listening, it is just not feasible. You can have the best artist ever, but if that artist is unable to communicate and insert itself into a team, you have a fail. You can have a great communicator, like a person that is going to be so amazing at, gaining your trust, being insane at even great ideas. But if there's just no production work, you also have a bit of a fail, because we ask out of a concept artist and a visual artist to be performing and to actually give tangible results on paper or on canvas. So the perfect balance is to have talent and diplomacy intertwined into you being a great selling package, if I might say, when it comes to how much a studio needs you.
That is tremendous advice, not only for seasoned art directors and team leaders, but also for artists trying to get into the game for the first time. If you want to work at the highest levels on the biggest projects, things as fabled as Halo, you want to specialize in your talent. Generalists are very valuable and all kinds of uses, but to get on Spar's team, you gotta have a very specialized look at a particular thing. You gotta be better than everyone else, as you say. And I think when talking about
at least in one field.
In one field, yeah, you got to be the best at that thing. And then that ties right into diplomacy, and when you're trying to communicate with others and pitch with others. You brought up listening, and I think that's something that we especially today don't talk so much about, how important that is for a leader. Far more important than the communication and the speaking and the rest of it is really important, but the ability to hear what's going on and connect that, I think, is so valuable. Could you tell us, along your journey as an art director, especially as it relates to diplomacy, what was one of the hardest lessons you had to learn along the way?
Hardest lesson. I think when it comes to the industry as a whole, I think that one of the bad habits we have is to just maybe not communicate sometimes. And I was confronted to one case of a person that decided to just shut down communication when it comes to being able to solve our differences. And that was very hard to me, very hard to cope with this, because for me, there's always a way to talk about differences and to be able to be constructive into dialogue. But when dialogue is shut down, it's you take a hard hit, you take a hard punch in the face when it comes to that front. It happened to me once, and I can be thankful that it happened just like once. Into all the years into the industry I've had, it's true. But this is for me a big lesson, which is a bit like you'd have in family life or in a big friends, family. You just don't shut a dialogue down just because you don't feel like it. You need to be open, constructive, and in a very meditative and calm experience. You need to be open to communication, and that's a big one for me.
I love that. Opening yourself to possibilities and having open-mindedness to shift.
Have the tough conversations.
Yeah.
There's one question in the chat that I think would be the perfect way to wrap this up. Mr. Scribblehead on Twitch says, Sparth, the position you're in now allows you to directly influence new talent and the franchise itself. Do you find it more rewarding than being the, quote, in the trenches senior artist or even lead? What's your take on that? How do you feel about being a little more removed from the day-to-day of painting, but having the influence over other artists versus getting in there and scoring goals with beautiful concepts?
That is one of the core issues and core problems when it comes to being an artist first and then ramp up into responsibility jobs as directors, as leads. This is a phenomenal problem, and I don't really have a magic wand to solve it. What I know is that the way I've been dealing with this is, first of all, I am obviously super passionate about making sure that I give leverage and that I can see success through the success of others. Obviously, I would obviously say when it comes to higher end jobs like directors. However, I can do it because I know that I can still sketch and paint on the side, because what I want to be able to is still express myself as an artist. And yes, it is often frustrating and kind of exhausting, not being able to just like always convey what I want to convey. I've tried through the years to be able to still have production time for myself, and even now I'm always trying to, but it became even more complex, to be honest, because I truly don't have the freedom to always just say, I'm going to take the next 3 hours and until 12, I'm just not there. It is just not feasible. There's been so many things going on, and as usual, you know that Thipo3 is a franchise. So we have consumer products, we have publications, we have a lot of things going on. So there's a lot of interactions, there's a lot of meetings. So this has been a bit of a challenge. I think I can live with it because I can still do Halo covers from time to time, and I can just so like for example the art book cover that I've done, but it's because of that I can just like keep going. If art was shut down completely, I think I would just like snap in my head. So obviously I can do it because I can still paint for myself sometimes, and even for the franchise in small increments. But that is what Mr. Scribble had said right there as a question, is one of the most challenging things as a director, and that can happen on any franchise. I'm doing my best to find a balance still now, and even more because of what has been happening since March, where things have been even more crazy on the meeting side, on the production hour side, and where we are all in the industry reinventing ourselves into new contributors that are all virtual, and it's been a challenge as much as it's been a pretty fantastic human adaptation to the actual real life circumstances right now. And I mean, it's challenging, but we'll just overcome that.
Man, Sparth, we sadly are out of time. I could ask you questions and glean wisdom from you all day. But thank you so much for taking time out of your unbelievably busy schedule to share here with us in the chat.
You bet. It's been super fun.
Thank you so much, and hope to get to continue this chat again soon.
Yes, please.
I'll be there, and just ring a bell. I'll just come around.
Amazing.
Those in the chat, if you don't already, do yourself a favor and follow @Sparth across social. Thank you all who are already putting your gratitude towards him. Please let him hear us, because we don't get an applause here doing this the work from home version of this show. Please let Sparth know how appreciative we all are.
The closest we get is how fast the Twitch chat moves.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, our friend.
Thank you, Sparth.
Thank you.
Oh man, I am so thrilled.
It was everything I hoped it would be.
Yeah, honestly, thank you all in the chat for joining in and bringing your positivity and your warmth. Y'all reminded us of one thing that we skipped. It was the second trivia question of the day, which was, what was the very first animation feature ever to be released? And the answer for that was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Our kits team will be reaching out to you if you were one of the first three to putting the right answer into the chat. And we are rolling right along here. So Max, what do we got coming up next, please?
We got David Levy coming up. We talked a little bit about him in that interview. Vile Art was his nickname back then, and I think it's still his Instagram handles. But David Levy's an amazing concept artist from the Avatar team, Star Wars team, Tron, all of these amazing, massive projects. And he's been directing more and more of his own projects. And today he's actually going to be working with the Unity Technologies team to direct a short film with us live inside of Unity.
Pretty awesome stuff that's about to go down. We're going to do an interview with David, and then Hussein Cornell from the Unity Tech team will be baking this thing out. And a special part of that is the concepts for that piece were drawn by Sparth. And of course, we've got our summer bundle going on. It is our biggest sale of the season. If you use the code 3 for 2, you can buy 2 and get a third free. Or if you use 6 for 3, you can buy 3 and get 3 kits free. So build your bundle now at kitbash3d.com, and we will see you with David Levy right after the break.
So the advantage of 3D over 2D is simply that you're able to move through space, basically. If you're interested in photography, I would strongly suggest learning 3D because it'll allow you to understand all the finite details of how cameras work. And you could test any camera's abilities as much as you like because you have an infinite amount of choices. I always think like, what would Stanley Kubrick do with like the 3D programs I use? You know, it'd probably blow his mind because of the choices, you know? But I also think it's really important to be inspired by the reality of a real camera and understanding how that mechanism works, understanding how light works, how to capture moments, and letting that feed the CGI. Because a lot of times I think with CGI, it's so easy to make something that's lifeless or dull or dead because it's so perfect and it's so pristine. I'm always thinking about the intention, like what am I trying to say here and what am I trying to do? Am I making something that moves? Am I making something that's still? Almost always, it comes from the intention of the emotion that I'm trying to evoke from my audience at the end of the road. It's the most amazing thing to make an imaginary, completely produced world and be able to move around in it and see it real time. It's like, come on, it's the best. You're basically making your own worlds.
Ladies and gentlemen, we could not be more excited to welcome you to the main event of our Saturday game day.
Yeah, the headliner.
The headliner of Saturday, day 2. This is night 2, depending on where you're at in the world. I'm bursting at the seams with this. This is something that that we've been planning for a really long time and really excited to see it all go down. Is there anything, did we miss trivia? Did we do a trivia question?
No, I don't think we did.
I just want to jump in. I don't want to think about anything else but what's about to happen. So if y'all would please in the chat, give a huge welcome to Mr. David Levy.
Hello guys, hello everyone.
What is up, David?
Doing good.
You can't hear it, but there's like 2,500 people roaring behind their computers somewhere.
No way. No pressure.
Well, you all in the chat, if you don't know, David, our very good friend, has been on just about every big favorite movie of the last 20 years with Star Wars, and he's on Avatar now. We're going to talk a little bit about Tron and Prometheus and Tomorrowland if we can get to it. But so David, first off, thank you for being here. How you feeling?
Doing good. It's been quite a challenging year, but overall, I mean, the good aspect of it is I've been very close to my family through the whole thing. So I'm doing good, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy and feel very thankful to be here. Thanks to you guys.
I mean, you have one of the best, most positive attitudes, and I think right as the pandemic hit, I remember talking to you, and you were like, you know what? This is really wonderful to be home with my family. And I think that attitude, I remember as soon as I heard it was in April as everything was falling apart. And I was just like, yes, what a great perspective, you know, and you have a really interesting lens on this. You used to live in LA, you did the whole racket here, working in the industry. And then you made a choice to move to North Carolina, right? What was that choice for you?
It was a very, very difficult choice because, you know, we say when you're far from the eyes, far from the heart, you know, I was feeling, okay, this is probably the biggest risk I'm going to take in my life, you know? And I thought, but it's worth the risk. I want to be closer to my family. I don't want to have to drive an hour to go to work and then come back an hour. And I thought if the work is not working for me because of that, then maybe it's not the work that's meant to be for me, you know? I had to find a balance somewhere. And after doing this job for 25 years, you know, you're looking for different motivations in your life, I think, you know?
I think that's, you know, and far from the eyes, far from the height, far from the heart. It's so cool that at that pivotal point in your life, you went and said, hey, what's really important? What's closest to my heart, and prioritize. You have two young girls that you wanted to really get to focus and raise. What a cool move. And of course, work hasn't stopped for you. It's probably just accelerated over the last few years, right?
Yeah, so that's the thing that happened, is that I was so terrified about the fact that I was worried I was not going to have any work. I mean, especially in Hollywood. Now things have changed over the last 6 months, but before that, no one wanted to see you on a Zoom call. You know, you had to be there or you were not hired, basically. And things have changed tremendously over the last 6 months, but because of that fear, what it triggered in me, I was like, you know what, instead of receding and trying to be afraid of what may come, I'm going to go ahead and forward. I'm going to create my own company. And I had created a company before, you know, and then I had gone into the movie business, and I had closed that company. And I thought, okay, it's time to be my own boss again, you know, and I started my company, and over the last 3 years, we've kind of exploded in a very positive way, not in a negative kind of explosion.
The artwork you're seeing on screen for those on Twitch is some of the work that that David did for Star Wars. And when you talk about pitch dev with your company, I mean, you didn't just start a company and then try to get a couple jobs and see where it landed. I mean, you got Star Wars, which is it's mind blowing. Can you talk about what the evolution of pitch dev was? How did you start to attract work, and how did you grow that company?
So to be very clear, Star Wars happened right before I started pitch dev. So but the way it worked is that over the many years, I've been in this industry, like I said, it's basically 25 years, going from games for 15 years and then to movies for another basically 15 years now, almost, not yet close. I've gathered a huge Rolodex, and people I know, people I've met, and more importantly, people I have enjoyed working with. In this industry, if you're not too much of a dick, if you work hard, you'll be hired again. And that's kind of what happened. And when I created my company, I just made a Facebook post, and because I have a lot of friends in the industry, I think the word went around, and my first company, it took me 5 years to set it up and run it, a good 5 years until we had like proper projects coming in. And this one, after 2 weeks, I got contacted for a project, and it started right there, And actually, it was hard because I had to transition much faster than I thought I had. But like you guys know, once if you jump before you have learn swimming, you're gonna have to learn swimming as you go, kind of thing. So.
I love that. I mean, we could talk for days. I got so many questions about the individual projects, and we're going to be flipping through just a little bit of work from Ender's Game and Tron, and some of Prometheus. But I think we are given short time here today because we're going to be focusing on another thing. But from high level up, what can you say now, 25 years in of getting to be a concept artist, the guy who takes the page and makes the world out of it? What can you say is the importance of being a world builder to you?
Well, I mean, I think it's the name of the game. I remember the first convention I went to, and I had like a 1 minute talk, and they allowed me to speak, in front of other people for 1 minute, and I was very happy. And the thing I said is that I'm really proud to be part of a tribe that design universes. That's the first thing I said. And I think already many years ago, I realized that what we were doing was much more than just illustration. To me, concepting is more about design than it is by illustration. Illustration is a mean to an end, but design is the core of our job. And designing is about inventing something unique and new. And that's the name of our game in this industry is everything that we do should be unique as much as possible.
That concept of tribe and community, I think, is so important. And to hear someone who's at the very tip of the spear like you are, and Sparth just before you said the same thing, that being part of this, being a team member and listening and connecting with people is at the very center, the very salt of being a concept artist or being part of this industry. I think is just one of the most beautiful, powerful messages. We have a video here, which is the new Pitch Dev Studios, your company, the new show reel, and we were going to play it behind here while we talked, but the video is just so good. I thought let's take a quick look at that.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I mean, speaks for itself. So amazing. Darren Butler in the chat agrees. Yeah, I think Pitch Dev Studios is unbelievable and such a great example of creating without permission and stepping out. And we produce universes. What could be a sweeter tagline? But let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. So we know you've been directing too, and that's part of the nature of PDS. What are we going to be looking at today?
Well, I think what you said about the directing thing is that, I mean, the reason why I'm here today is because we had such a great connection just during a lunch a year ago at the Lightbox event, you know. And to me, as a concept artist, sometimes what's missing is even though we are the hub of a production, you know, I'm a very social person, you know, and sometimes being in front of my computer per day, sometimes 12 hours, you know, I don't get to be as social as I really enjoy. And I think directing offers that kind of things where you are actually, you're maybe a hub, but a different kind of hub where you're connecting socially with people. Like what we've done for this thing today is that people I've never worked with before in a very short time, because this was done in an extremely fast prototyping manner. In a very short time, we have to evaluate other people, try to communicate as much as possible in order to create a universe, to create an atmosphere, to create a direction that would basically be nice to look at, you know.
Mm-hmm. And so this is going to be a demo of a original script by David called Scout One. And tell us a little bit about what Scout One is to you, David.
Well, I mean, the thing that's amazing is you guys gave me that opportunity. I mean, Banks, you contacted me and you said, look, do you want to direct a demo for that event? I said, of course, you know. And in the back burner, what we're doing in my company, aside from doing concept art, what we really focus on, I'd say that's 50% of our business now, is to create our own universes, you know. And there's already a project called Moon Control that we're developing that's in production right now. And we had already a character, and I thought, well, what? We could do a spin-off. And in order to do that spin-off, I need like a core inspiration. And I thought, you know what, if I am a director, if I have any choice in the world, who would I want to work with? And I thought right away, if I am the director and I can choose the best sci-fi concept artist in the world, I'm picking up Sparth. You know? So that's what I did. I called Sparth, you know, and I say, hey, are you okay if we use one of your artwork, you know, or two, and then we use that as an inspiration, as the base for a quick short film that we do with the kitbasch guys? He say, of course, yeah. He was super happy to share with us. And so I picked two images, you know, the key images. We have like a ship and a station, you know, and we took that as a base and a ramp to write a little script and then go from there.
And so the ideation behind this is how do we solve problems really fast? How does a director in real time get his vision out? And we saw a demo of this morning where Sava Zivkovic, using real time, was able to very quickly iterate solutions, taking a quick idea and moving a camera around. And today we have in our virtual green room waiting for us is Hussein Cornell from the Unity technical team, who will be representing a large group of artists from Unity who have helped position this so that we're going to get to see previs or sexy previs, as we were calling it, happen in real time. How do we iterate ideas fast and solve problems, right?
So, I mean, that's something I understood, I would say maybe like 10, 15 years ago. Actually, I was working at Ubisoft with Sparth actually at the time, and we started creating like a new system of illustration using brushes, custom brushes. The name of the game nowadays in this industry is assets. If you have assets, you can create huge worlds. If you don't have assets, you don't have the tools and the means in order to create believable universes. And this is where the demo for me was very key and important and eye-opening, is that working with kitbasch gave me right away the power of asset. And then we have a place, Unity, where we can take all these assets and create a world in a very short amount of time. That's the idea.
I love it. I love it. And many people in the chat don't know, but we are so excited to help pitch dev in anything that you guys need. So without further ado, So sorry, actually, a slight more ado. We have there were storyboards created that you drew up, and then we got an editor together who cut the storyboards, and we got Jake Eberly, who is both David and I's good friend, who's an unbelievable voiceover artist. He's from Assassin's Creed. Also, he's the voice of Boeing and Maker's Mark, the ultimate seafaring space traveler voice. And so we started working on this process of how do we take how do we get ideas out quickly, and storyboards that David drew up were the fastest way to do that. And we put them together in a little video that we'll show now, and then the demo team with David are gonna show how they can make those shots happen real fast. And then tomorrow we're actually gonna pull it all together and premiere it. Was that all the ado I needed, David? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And regarding the storyboard, I want to say that the storyboard was done in a way that's very rough, as to, in some ways, full of respect and creative respect for everybody that works on the team, that they are coming up with the world as much as I am coming up with the world. And it's the combination of the work of everybody that creates a fantastic result, basically.
So let's check out the storyboards video. This was edited by Alex Scheip. And we'll dive into that. You'll see Jake Everly in the corner.
Hydra Control, requesting access to enter atmosphere.
Request accepted. Sector 0513. Good luck and be safe.
Engaging entry procedure. Catch you on the other side, over.
Roger.
Okay. Be good to me. Let's see how this one goes. Showtime. Hold on. Keep it together, sweetheart. God, come on. Hold steady. We've done this before. Scout 1 to Hydra. Entry successful. Heading to meeting point.
Roger.
That wasn't so bad. Okay. Where are you? Come on. I know you're there. Widen the beam. Gotcha. I have a ping.
Roger. On standby.
Wow. Look at that. Found it. Sending coordinates for the beam. The passage is cleared. I'm going in.
Be safe. Rendezvous at 1200.
Roger.
All right, there y'all have it, the storyboards, and please welcome Hussein Cornell. He's over that way from the technical team.
How's it going, guys and gals out there?
Guys and gals doing quite well here. Incredibly excited for this. We've been waiting weeks for this action. Hussein, tell us a little bit about how this looks from your side. What was the work that's involved that brought us up to where we are today?
So first of all, it was you guys getting a hold of us, and we're like, yeah, let's do this. And then we got these really cool boards. You can see kind of the the first boards that we got from David here. So we had some of the layouts and shapes, and we're like, okay, what do these kits look like? Because I had never worked with kitbasch, and I was kind of worried at first. I was like, oh my gosh, is this going to work? And you sent me little codes. I downloaded my things. I started bringing them in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so easy, so fast. So I guess what we have for you guys today is kind of showing you guys how we went through that. And we had a team of 7 or 8 other people here at Unity that, each one did their own thing. And working with David was amazing because he gave us a lot of leeway. I think he mentioned that earlier, where he gave us kind of the outline, the feel, and the look, but then he also let us be part of that building of this universe, of this Sparth universe. So we had fun while he also had fun seeing what we came up with. So we all, and there were some artists that they just took it their way and were like, oh, that looks cool, let's keep it. So that's this journey.
Huge shout out in the chat to Alet, who he goes, Hussein into house, which also looks like house into house if you check it out. Alet's from the Unity technical team, and without him, we could not have made what you're seeing possible. Thank you immensely.
I just want to throw it out to Unity too. We just started building kits for specifically in Unity, and this started a couple months ago as we were making this move into game engines, and we started working with the Unity team, who is so supportive in helping us figure out, okay, what is the ideal way to set up assets for Unity users? And I think because of their help with this, what ended up happening is our team, who weren't too familiar with Unity, started to QC kits in Unity and started going, hey, these look really good right out of the box here. And all of a sudden, I just saw a ton of our artists working in Unity as their primary place of if we're going to just check something out with a kit, I watch them open up the Unity file to check something out because it's just so fast and looks so good. And now we're kind of hooked on it. So I think it's an amazing technology, and the things that you can do from a cinematic perspective are incredible. And I'm excited to see what these two come up with.
So with that, Hussein, let's take this away. We're going to sit back and enjoy this bowl of popcorn here in this Unity demo.
Awesome. So the very first thing that we had to do is we had to figure out the scale and get everything set up before we started bashing. So we said, okay, the first thing we want to do is come up with the ship. So we took this concept art. I'm going to zoom in real quick. And then we took the liberty, one of our, Elliot, took the liberty, one of our team members on Alet's team, just, got some other artwork and okay, let's see what would look cool. This was kind of the plan, was to make something similar to that. So the first thing we had to do is let's take a look at these ships. So let me turn on these ships and let me show you what these ships kind of look like. So this is part of the spaceship kitbasch, and you can see there are tons of parts that you guys can just pick and choose. You don't have to pick a whole ship. You can grab each little asset. It's in prefabs, if you know Unity, and they come textured. This is for HDRP, and I believe they offer them in just about everything. And let me turn on my final. And this was the final that we ended up bashing together. And I'm just gonna spin it around so you guys can kind of see what this looks like. We took the liberty to change some of the textures. So if you notice that ours are white, we did very little on the material changing. It was just basically make it fit that ice world.
I want to throw in here really quick. While y'all are looking at the spaceships kit, courtesy of David and the Unity tech team, we're going to be giving out 20 free spaceship kits. If you go to kitbasch3d.com, and you put the spaceships kit in, type in the code LEVYSHIPS, and y'all can pick those up for free. Thank you, guys. That's all.
And what I just showed right here, just so you guys get to see, I did nothing other than grab those, that's the sci-fi pack, and I just threw it in there. We used a lot of these assets, and just how quickly they just drop in. and you're like, oh my gosh, that's an awful lot of things. And I love the way they're modular. They fit really well, and we can bring a lot of them in. There is no chugging, so kudos on making really, really good assets that are very, very easy to work with. So back to our boards. We made the ship. I don't know if you want to say anything about it there, David.
No, that's it. I mean, what I talked about earlier on, is like, why not take best concept artist, and use as a base of inspiration what he had created, So that's we started with this, when in terms of designing and for more of the 3D environment, what's important in design is proportions, And once you have your proportions, I consider that details is kind of like the icing on the cake, It's what makes things feasible. But the most important part is design. And what Sparth is amazing at is composition and design. If you look at that image, that kind of structure, we really based, first of all, I talked with Hussein, I say, look, what's very important is to keep those proportions. Now, when it comes to the detail, let's use just the kitbasch stuff, and I completely trust you with it. And that's exactly what happened. So I built that little, I call it the ice cream cone, or microphone, it's kind of like a microphone too. But if you look carefully, I mean, the proportions are very carefully following the proportion that Sparth had created. And then from there, you want to take on, Hussein?
We brought these quick little proportions, of course, David made, and we said, okay, let's start making it. If we remember the boards here, there is this, I don't know if it's showing, oh, there it is, a little lag, but we have an area that is kind of a platform where SCART 1 is going to land. So we're like, okay, let's start with that and then build from there. Where is this platform going to exist? So we said, okay, let's make this platform. So we bashed it out, and let me turn on the platform and zoom in to my landing platform. So this, just to let you guys see, this is heavy metal. I think there are some pieces from, and sorry, I am totally destroying it there, David. Okay.
No!
So you guys can see very quickly, we were just able to bash this together.
It's a secret. No, we built it. It took us many months to build. Come on.
So very, very quickly, I mean, who would have guessed, right, that I've got, we could make some really cool little animations, that I've got pistons underneath here that could actually lift and go down. But let me go Control Z before, David comes to my door. There we go, back to normal. So we've gotten this down, and I have, all the lighting off. I have the atmospheric stuff off. So right now it's just blocking. We're not distracted by anything. It's just quick bashing. We were not bashful on that. I know I have to. That's my line for today. So back to building this microphone ice cream. So we had our station, and then we decided, and let me turn off the blockout, and you can start seeing that this is 99.9% kit bashed. Again, I just have pieces of kit bash. I think this is one of the spaceships. This is part of heavy metal, some of the science ones, etc. I mean, they have a lot of fun stuff.
And I want to jump in there to say, like, how important, and that's something I've learned actually doing that demonstration, is that if you can get all those details fast, it actually changes the way you look at shot framing. We knew the shots that we needed, and we started putting cameras in and stuff like that. But having like an antenna in a specific position, it's an emulation of filming with real camera. And behind me, I have a bunch of cameras. I love lenses. And when you go into that world, you're basically a filmmaker scouting your environment. And being able to scout your environment at that early stage really allows you to choose frames, to choose proper angles, to have an antenna on the right, to frame your ship with a block on the left and things like that. So I just wanted to jump in and say that, basically, because it's so important and something I've learned during that demonstration.
And last but not least, I can't forget the, where are you? I had my cockpit view right get to it eventually. Where are you? Come on. Well, did I turn him off? Okay. Oh, maybe I don't have him on. Well, no problems. My little button to show my my spaceship guy didn't work, so we're gonna go back to my platform, and we'll show that in our next shot. I knew this was gonna happen. No worries.
It's
That's
why it's the shadow side of doing it live. We plus side
Yes.
is we get the chat. Shadow side is shit's gonna happen.
So now that we've got this this built, we're like, okay, now let's get the feel of this of this environment. So we're going to turn on the lighting, and we can start seeing, okay, this feels a little bit better. And then we did some fun atmospheric stuff. Oh, which I actually have to turn on. Woo! And I have to turn off the blocking. So very quickly with some of the HDRP things that we have, we were able to, you know, create some really cool clouds, create the environment, you know, and put this I don't know what we call it, space station in the planet that it lives in that space.
Yeah, and what I want to emphasize is the fact that this was done thanks to the whole kitbasch system was done basically. I mean, we went from the ice cream cone to this like basically over a few hours, you know, and that flexibility and that speed is really important.
Yeah, I mean, it was super fast. As you said earlier, having assets is definitely the game changer. Having assets that are ready to just basically drag and drop. And the next important part that I think is super cool was the fact that we got to, you know, see how awesome David directs, and very quickly we worked together.
You're too kind. You're way too kind.
Dude, but it was fun. It was super fun. I think, you know, when you said, you know, one of the things you mentioned earlier, like, you know, not being a dick was like the greatest thing. And I'm like, wow, this guy's so fun to work with. He is so like human. So, you know, props on that end. Here we have you're an awesome human.
I'll send you the check as soon as we're done.
So here is
that's really great.
This was the scene I couldn't find before, but here it is. So this is our first shot. This is our what's this guy's name? I believe Marcel.
Right now it's Marcel, yeah, because
okay.
we thought it'd be a cool name.
So Marcel is in his cockpit, and he's coming down. And if you guys remember the board we just read, and right now it looks pretty dull. So I know that I was asked that, you know, to put a little bit of noise in this and make it feel a little bit more live. So I'm just going to solo this, and we were able to put in a little bit of you know, a handheld mile, just kind of cool. But just be aware that if we want to make Marcel kind of, you know, go crazy and need a doggy bag, we can definitely pump it up and
Vomit bag.
I mean, we can go crazy. I don't even know if you guys can see that because of internet lag. I wouldn't.
No, we can see it.
About that.
Yeah, that reads.
That adds a little more realism. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my lighting so you guys can get to see some really you know, the reflections, etc. And back into our camera shot, there were a few other things that we wanted to do. One was that we really wanted to make sure that we were in line with the storyboard. So we've got this really cool feature where we can look at the storyboard, and we can actually swipe through and make sure that we're staying on target. You know, if this is what the director wanted, I can quickly show, hey, I've got it lined up. We're ready to go.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
yep,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Then we have.
Well, one of the first thing that, like when I jumped in and I worked with the same, first thing I said, okay, first of all, let's frame this 235. If we want to look cool, if we want to have a cool framing, let's go 235. Because everybody knows that 235 is much more fun than 16:9.
And I just made a very quick 235 to 100 is 235 to 1. It's just, I just made a really quick, you can add as many as you want. And there we go. Now we've got it framed up and we're good to go. Thank you for the reminder.
That's
and
okay.
that does look a lot cooler.
That's exactly right. And that's what I find fascinating about directing is that directing is a lot like cooking, like in those cooking shows, where you mix a lot of elements, a lot of spices and stuff like that. But it's the combination of those at the right time and the right moment, at the right with the right sound, with the right music, and everything starts to come together. And the thing that's amazing when you're working with a team like the Unity guys, is that everybody is bringing a little bit of their expertise, piece by piece, and then suddenly you in a few hours you see, oh wow, okay, this feels more like a story now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what we're going to show. We're going to show all the elements that, as we were discussing, we spent like a whole morning with the same chatting about every shot with Danny as well, and like including like depth of field, for example, right away focuses us onto the pilot.
I just want to show this really cool feature off on how we can kind of render out where that depth of field is going to be. So you can really quickly set your shot up. If you're in blue, well, of course, you're going to be in focus. If not, you won't be. If you see this white or red, it's not going to be in focus. Just a really cool option that we have in our debugging tools. So just wanted to show you that. And, we talked about trying to make this feel better. I can add all sorts of overrides here that do all sorts of things. I can add I can add ambient occlusion. I can add a lot of post-processing effects that in old school, I used to come from VFX, where I'd have to wait. Like depth of field was a very expensive process if I was in Maya, having to render that out. And here we're getting it real time. And no, I don't want anything at the moment. I want to go.
And for example, what was great about the flexibility of those tools is that right away, I felt at home and I thought, okay, well, this is a camera. I wasn't thinking anymore, we're in the digital world or anything. Okay, with that lens, if we have a long lens, let's have a proper depth of field. If we are with that lens in the interior, well, maybe we're gonna have some vignetting, okay? If we're here, maybe we can raise the contrast, we can raise the value of the vignetting, when we're inside, so that when we're outside, it creates a contrast with a very bright and airy and windy environment,
So yeah, I just kind of did some changes just to illustrate. I don't know what my actual values were. We did some color adjustment, some contrast. You can kind of see what that was. But
yeah, that's good actually. Leave it
okay,
leave it like that. That's
I'll leave it like that. I know. I'm playing at the moment. Yeah. We also talked about adding some bloom and adding a kind of a lens dirt on the camera. This probably is a little bit too high. I can turn that down and so forth. And again, I still have this solo. Now I do. We can start seeing kind of how that plays out. We have some flicker of the lighting inside of that ship, affecting the way he looks. And again, this is very, very fast, as we call it, sexy previs.
Exactly.
And I know that we better go on to the next shots. If not, we're going to run out of time here.
How much more time do we have, Banks?
We've got time. You guys explore. We're having a blast here.
So here's this shot. I should let it play out. That way you guys could see kind of how that works. You tell me where you want me to stop, and we can edit.
Yeah, where we can go on this one. No, this one needs a little more contrast. Actually, it looks like you added contrast already. I think it was brighter before.
Actually, we don't even have one here. We're gonna add an override, and we're gonna come here, and we're going to.
Actually, I saw that you had just if you go back, I saw that you had exposure. And I usually tend to prefer working with exposure compared to contrast, but it's up to you if you want to use.
Either way. We did have depth of field here.
Yeah, that helps as well.
And I think I might have turned it up a little bit too much, but again, we can go back to debug and
that's
we
good.
can set it if we want. But okay, we can add bloom.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. When it comes to outside, to add bloom is going to help a lot with the fact that it feels really bright.
And then of course we could add the contrast saturation if you wanted. We could go in and saturate. Is this okay? There we go. You can definitely see it's subtle, but it's there. Sometimes we can go really crazy, or we can go just subtle on it.
Yeah, well, and in here, no, we don't have a lot of texturing, so of course, the saturation is not going to show up much. But,
the other thing that's cool here is that if I go up here and I can solo this, we can again go to our noise node, and we can start bumping up some of this frequency if we want to make it feel a little bit different, or if we want to, as you can see, this is normal extreme, or we can do a wide angle. We didn't talk about cameras yet. We can
do we have motion blur on this one, or no?
We do have motion blur. No, I do not have motion blur on this.
Because it feels very harsh,
Yep.
and that's one thing that will make a big difference.
So just have to remember where my motion blur is, and we can bring this up, and you can start seeing it working a little bit. I'll put that on high. Why not?
Yeah, I would go super high. If we go with the screen shake, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to actually play it out in running it on solo.
Got it.
Really do me. I'd have to play the whole shot, but we will play the whole shot if we get through this in time.
Yeah. That's okay. That's.
So as you guys can see very quickly, I'm not moving to the next shot because of course I soloed this one. So let me unsolo it, or Han Solo it. And
Hussein, man, with him.
Let me double click on this bad boy here. And I've got to thank one of my guys, one of our team members, Danny Ayub, who helped out a lot with setting up these shots. So props. And I believe we did some depth of field on this one. We did some bloom. You can start seeing how it's already doing some changes.
Is there any way we can look at it again from the beginning, just so we have a feel for the succession of the shots?
Yeah, I will just play them and then stop it right there.
Yeah, that shot. Yep.
There we go. Hey, stop.
So yeah, let's jump to that shot.
Okay, let's jump to this one. I know this one to do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. So one thing that was really excited about is playing with the lenses. Lenses can communicate a lot of information. So let's say we go with it's already at 11. But when we started, you want to show it at 30, maybe something like that. This is kind of where we were at the beginning. I thought, well, you know what? In that shot, we used the depth of field trick a lot, So let's go to like a very extreme FOV, and let's go maybe to 16 or 12 or something like that, Let's go to even more crazy, like something like 10, okay? And I thought, okay, that's great. But I asked out of curiosity, I was like, is there any way we can have barrel distortion in there? And they're like, yeah, of course. So that was kind of a really happy moment for me.
And now we can, go crazy.
If you want to go 2001 Space Odyssey style.
Yeah. My mouse went crazy. I got this crazy gaming mouse. Again, vignetting. We added some here, and we can have fun. I don't remember which one you said. I think we added motion blur on this one. We wanted to tone down some of the ambient occlusion, so we put an override so it wasn't as crazy. Yep. We can also, we can change that, which is really cool with the volumes framework inside of HDRP and Unity. We can set, each camera can have its own full set of parameters. So every camera can have its own depth of field, its own color correction, it's everything. So that's really, really powerful. And then we have our depth of field here. And we're going to solo this one really quickly.
Oh, and this one needed a lot of contrast, I would say.
Yes. And
vignetting and contrast.
Yep. Do I actually have a color correction node on here? I don't think I do. Oh, we need to add that one.
Try the exposure. I'm curious about the exposure.
Okay.
Let's improvise.
No problem. Right now, we have it on fixed, and I think I'm going to go to use physical camera, and I think I got to go the other way.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Cool. That's pretty cool.
That looks pretty sweet. I like it. And again, we can also we can use both. You know, we can add contrast to this as well, and have the exposure node. So and oh, it looks like we do have exposure as part of that.
Oh,
node.
okay, cool. So yeah, maybe I would remove the other one.
Yeah, we can just pull this one out and just
Excellent.
use. There we go. There we go. As I said, there's many ways to skin a cat, but please don't go skinning cats just because I said that.
No. No.
Hussein with the zingers.
Bad. So, all right, I'm going to save this. So just in case something happens, we can go back and play this. Are we cool on this shot? I'm just looking at
totally. Let's move on. For sure.
Okay, very cool. So, again, I've Han Soloed it. Down you go. And here we are. So this
that's great.
I love this shot right here.
That's really cool.
So this is our reveal of, ice cream cone.
But now it's not an ice cream cone anymore. Now it's a badass platform.
There we go. There we go. And I don't remember what we did on this shot.
So, and you guys have seen the storyboard, you know. So I would raise the contrast as well again, because because we want to really have like a difference of atmosphere between the inside and the outside. Really feel like the outside is overly bright, you know.
I'm not sure what way I should be going.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
It's already better, so that's cool. That's perfect. Yep.
Awesome. And again, we can add noise. I believe this one does have a little bit of noise, not as much, but we again can go very crazy if we wish.
Let's not do that.
You know, I'm itchy to go.
Because everyone who's like behind their computer right now is like, oh God.
Like, stop it, Hussein, you're making me get sick. All right. So we're gonna unsolo and we're gonna keep on going. And then we have
that's my favorite, one of my favorite shots here. That's my number 2 shot. Because this really sells the design, you know, and I love all these accidents that happen, you know, with the antennas right next to the sphere, creating a cast shadow. You know, we can even recompose the shot. Let's say we want to be, can we move the sphere a bit more to frame right, you know, frame right up, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And I know you guys have like a framing tool as well. I was very impressed of. And this is great as well to see with the storyboard, you know?
Yeah, I could have done that on every shot. I think I just kind of didn't do it.
Yeah.
But we can definitely, I think I have to add under composer, I have to lock it to something. So I have to add a aim to it.
It's okay. Let's not do that on this one.
Okay. All right. I think I have one set up for it, but it's
okay,
fine.
Cool. Awesome.
But I think with this one, we did a little bit of depth of field, and we didn't do much. I think this one, we just liked it. You're just like, oh, it's nice. All right. So moving on, I'll save that. And now we're coming in. That's just a really quick shot, so we get to see the landing platform where he's going to go. And let me see, what did we do here on this shot?
You guys, the things that we already kind of customized a lot of the shots. This one, I remember, didn't have a dolly move, and it looks like you guys did it last night. It looks really cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Just to make it feel a little better, because it was basically a completely still shot when we first did it. And we just
exactly. And what's great is that here, with a little bit of perspective, you know, it really sells the size and the scale of that platform, you know, it really feels like something massive. And the pilot now feels very tiny, and it adds so much to the mood, you know, so that's great. And that's my number 1 favorite shot. It's just so cool. I mean, and that's a really a testament to the tools we use with the kitbasch library, is that that sphere with the framing, with the antennas and stuff like that. It was literally out of the box. You know, we just moved the camera. It took us really 2 minutes to set up the camera, and then that was it. You know. And you want to explain what you're showing right now, Hussein, with the framing?
Yeah. So I've made the ship my kind of my aim. So I've added it to the aim. So now what I can do is use our composer from Cinemachine to be able to then recompose this shot, and we can start seeing that now that's going to be kind of our focus point. So very quickly I can reframe and decide where that's going to be just from my view. So that's a really cool tool. In Director, where do you want it?
I would definitely add a depth of field on this one because we really want the foreground to go super soft, you know, and really focus on the ship. Perfect. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
And I don't know what else we did. I think this one we kind of kept this way. I'm going to turn off my my handles here so we can kind of see what the shot feels like.
Awesome. Can we play it from the top?
Yeah, let's play it from the get-go and then stop at shot 9. Here we go.
Yeah, the smoke is that shot I really like. I think works really well. Screen check there, excellent. More contrast, great. Yeah, and it's really amazing to be able to put this together as fast as we did. You know, it's really, for me, I mean, as a concept artist and director, it's like being a kid in a candy store. I mean, I have tons of toys, you know, that were given to me by you guys, and then I just put them together using one of the best sci-fi concept artists in the world. I mean, that was a blast for me, you know. Just want to say that.
It's so cool to see that now we can use game engines for this type of filmmaking, and it feels almost like an editing session or a music recording session. But to be able to do that with, you know, 3D worlds and animation and changing cameras and even things like adding motion blur, which previously, if you had asked for motion blur, anyone who has to hit render is like, oh God, you know, that's a whole thing. And now it's a check of a box. It's really incredible to watch.
Fully agree. On this one, for example, I would say no depth of field because we're using a wide angle lens, and that's very but if we can, since we're very close to the ground and there's probably some dust kicking in and stuff like that, is there any way we can have like a dirt map onto the lens, some dirt onto the lens?
Yes, we can actually. I mean, we can add the bloom, which allows us to put a dirt map on, and I can just get a texture, and I believe I can just get a. I don't have many, so all I have are these two for right now. But
that's great. That's perfect. That's perfect. You know, it doesn't matter. You don't need tons of them as long as it's the right one. And I would just kick the hell out of that dirt map so that it should really be super strong. You know.
My threshold down. I just put this at 0.2, and then my intensity. I think I went up too far. And
it just needs to be the intensity of the dirt map underneath.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. I'm like, what's going on? Yep,
yeah. You can put this one to 0.
Yeah.
David had mentioned like a kid in the candy shop, and the Hints team texted me they've released some new codes. So for David's candy shop here, if you use Levy Heavy, you can get the heavy metal kit for free. There's 20 available kits there. Levy Heavy. Go get them, kids in the candy shop.
I'm gonna go on a diet. I swear I'm gonna go on a diet. I'm just overweight right now.
It's a reference to the kit.
No, heavy hitter. That's what we're talking about. Heavy head.
Heavy bag. Sorry, bring in the zings.
I said nothing. So I would raise it even more. No, let's go. Can we do twice more than that?
Yes,
because we're right next to a freaking jet engine. I want to see some serious dirt map on there. Well, here we go. Now we're talking. Cool. Great.
I'm not holding back. You want me to go crazy? I will go
that's
crazy.
The thing. I mean, and that's the thing that's amazing about being able to work with these tools is that it's like music. It's like composing music. You know, as director, you know, you go at some time you want things to be quiet. You don't want the camera movement on every shot. You know, you want some cameras to be static, and then you don't want dirt map on every shot. You know, you want to use them at your best advantage in order to tell the best story. And the story we're trying to tell here is really kind of, we want to put the viewer into that universe and make it as believable as possible, and because the atmosphere here is to get the guy that comes and visits a platform. His job is just to clean up some stuff, to make sure that everything functions right. They're gonna have to open the platform for him, but who knows what awaits him behind that door. That's the whole idea. And to be able to tell that story, we really have to use all those subtle tools that make it very believable and immersive, I would say.
Yep. One of, let me unsolo my shot again. So Clive Downey from Unity, one of the terms he uses is evergreen. And I always like that, is when you're using real-time 3D. And I think this is evergreen because we can change it all the time. It's not a render that's still. It's basically, I have all these knobs and I can just play.
And I mean, when I come from speed painting, which was a technique of painting very rapidly and doing concepts at high speed and whatever. To me, I would really call that speed directing. The fact that you are able to go into a world, bring all these assets, decide your camera shots just like over the course of a day, is mind-boggling to me. And it's, once again, the whole idea, and that's how I feel with the kitbasch stuff, is that it's so much fun, and that's what every production should be. We all know it's not always like that, but it's tons of fun. So.
Well, there we go. This is really far away. I was trying to get the focus just right. Or not focus, but my depth of field, I guess it is the focus.
It is the focus, yep.
Yep. So end, we'll end it then, and then we'll start. And then far blur, this one I'll set it like 90. And this one has to go farther back, 120. And there we go. So maybe about like that.
Yeah, let's see how it looks like.
There we go. And this is just such an awesome tool because me trying to look at it visually, I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing. So
that's cool. It looks like a tilt shift camera a little bit, like those micro. I think it's cool actually.
All right.
It's yeah.
And that's what I love about this. You can just play around and very quickly, that looks sweet. All right, so let me go back to my timeline. And this isn't soloed, is it? Nope. Anything else you want to do on this shot?
No, I think the one previous needed to have the depth of field on as well because it's a very long lens.
Oh, we skipped this one. Look at that.
Super long lens. Yeah.
Keeping me honest here. I totally did. So on this one, we since I already did the debug mode here, I won't do it on this one. But yeah, we added this.
So
I think
I'm curious, out of curiosity, I'm gonna scare you because I'm gonna improvise even more. Like that antenna that's right on the left, is it possible to just move that guy? Like, right. Can we move it in the shot, or do we have to be outside of the shot?
Yeah, well,
that's perfect.
We move it out of the shot, but we can view it live. Which antenna are we talking about now?
The one that's right next to the ship on the left, I'm just wondering, that's out of curiosity, if I wanted to reframe the shot, how difficult would that be?
Figure out which antenna that is, and then I can, so is it this guy?
Yeah, that's the one.
Where would you want it?
That's cool. Excellent. That's perfect here.
Here?
No, a little further to the left. Camera left.
Oh, okay.
Here, a little more to the right. Okay. Yeah, and then can we slide the whole shot to the left?
All right. So I got to grab the camera in this instance, and which is my camera number.
And I know all these things can feel very subtle or whatever, but here, what I'm trying to do with that framing is actually more uncomfortable than the one that was there before. But the whole idea is that what I'm trying to say with a very subtle antenna movement is that we're getting kind of close to like an area of danger. And this, of course, is not very really clear right now because we just have images. But once the sound is here, once the music is here, the tension will be even more palpable, and moving an object just to the right 50 centimeters or or 1 meter, sorry, feet when you're in America, sorry guys, it can make a huge difference into the storytelling that you're trying to achieve, you know?
I think my camera's locked.
That's okay, it's okay.
It's all right.
Move, yeah, it's okay. You can move the antenna back.
Yeah, I have like a read-only.
That's fine, that's really cool.
Not allowed to.
Yeah, a lot of the things that we're doing right now have to be kind of scripted a little bit as well so that we don't destroy everything too quickly.
I know. It's fun though.
Because I will break your stuff. I will break it. I'm very.
I know you've been breaking it all along, but it's that's been the fun part about it. There, everything wants
back up.
There you guys get to. There we go. I want full screen.
Cool. Yeah, we can move to the next shot. And that's the final shot. Yeah, I'd say with this one, let's go even closer to his head with the FOV. You know, we can change the FOV. Like I love that. Actually, the reflection would have to fake it to be back.
To be right on.
But that's the idea.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. That's perfect.
Okay. And I think on this one, some of them I went back and I took off some of our options, but as you guys can see, kind of how that shot. And I think did we do any color correction on this one? I think we did when we were doing our.
Well, it's all good. I mean, we should jump to the other shot because it's It's my third favorite shot.
Like, let's get to the shot, dude.
Here we go.
You know. Oh, I'm skipping.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So the whole idea at that moment is that the entrance to the platform is closed, you know, and I'm a huge fan of Akira, like most people my age, you know. Yeah, I'm showing my age. But the things that in Akira, I really love those laser that come from the satellite, and we were really trying to achieve the same kind of feel. And so I talked to Hussein about that. I was like, yeah, you know, it'd be cool, but I understand we're super pressed. We just have like 1 or 2 afternoons, you know, to do this thing. So is it okay? It's okay. Just a cylinder with light is fine. It's like, okay. The day after they came back with this, I was like, oh, yes.
So this is my buddy Andy Touch, and he basically did a trick. He's using a spotlight and he's using visual effects graph. And very quickly, what's cool about visual effects graph that you don't have to be a scripter. It's a node-based VFX editor, similar to if you're used to Houdini or Nuke, where you just grab and throw nodes together. Very quickly, he knocked this out of the park, and I love it. He also used our shader graph in the next shot, which you guys will see.
Yeah, and I have nothing to say about that shot. It's just
okay.
I love it. I want this to be my poster.
And then we used on this thing that is blocking the entranceway, we used our shader graph to do that really cool dissolve of that thing. I should just play it, right?
Yeah, play it. Yeah.
Let's just play the whole thing. That way we can see it.
I can do the sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that's very important to talk about. Is that after this demo is done, you know, we have already all the sound effects that are set up, and that's something that was very interesting. That you can set the sound effects per shot, you know, oh, that's working great. I love that succession of shots. That's excellent. Perfect. Yeah. And the guys at kitbasch are preparing like an edit that's gonna basically bring everything together. I'm really excited. The sound effects that Jake did and the voices. And by the way, my wife is doing the computer voice. Kudos to my wife that I recorded in the car just 2 nights ago. You know, the microphone.
To the nature of of create without permission, make something fast. Pull out your phone and record some VO and get it into the project, so then everyone can have it, you know, and then everyone who's working on things can understand faster and faster what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and that's something that's incredible nowadays as well. You know, I do have a bunch of microphones here, but the microphone that I tend to use, the one that's the most practical. I have one of those Shure microphones. It's a tiny microphone that goes into the new iPhone. and the recording quality is mind-boggling, and that goes to exactly what you just talked about, the speed iteration, the fast iteration, but for the voice, for the images, for everything, and then boom, the gate opening is revealed here.
Mm-hmm. So I am sorry, the first time we played it, I had that turned off.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're quickly iterating. You got to remember, oh, I need that. But we didn't do depth of field in this shot or anything.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine.
All right, I think we did have it. Whoa, not that much. It's fine.
It's fine without it, to be honest.
And then we went to this shot here. And then, as you know, we were going really quickly. We have a character which isn't rigged, so we couldn't quite show him walking around.
And that's totally fine. When we are into production mode, that kind of show, the storyboard integrated into an animatic, a previous shot or whatever, it's totally acceptable and totally, people in the industry know the process, and they know that things are temporary and things like that. So I like it actually when there's shows like that, a mix of storyboarding, and it really helps with the choices and the opening that we can do. We can show that to an animator. The animator can decide the timing based on that shot and things like that.
Yeah, I think that in the nature of having a storyboard video right out the gate helps so much with everyone getting to look at the feel of timing and understand where things are going to play, and then you can be making changes the whole way along. And then as David was saying, our editor Alex Scheip is going to drop in the shots into the storyboards, the ones that get pushed, so that we can continue to see. And this is the same process that we use to make our 4.0 cinematic. And honestly, I'll never make another video without this process again. Having the edit as early on as possible that you can continually iterate, I think is so helpful. Even if it has, a foot with an arrow going there, it gives you a sense of what you're trying to achieve.
Cool. Actually, less exposure like you did was pretty good, actually. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah, keep it like this. Yeah.
As you can see, I'm just playing, guys, and that's what I love about working with David. That he lets us play, and then fun things happen.
I am a huge believer in accidental design, and accidental directing, I guess, because when you're directing even like short films like the ones we do in live action with our company, things change all the time. We're supposed to shoot something outdoor, and then the rain is here. Well, how can we integrate that? And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned actually when I worked on Prometheus. I was extremely lucky to work right next to my idol, Ridley Scott. And the biggest lesson I learned from that project is the fact that directing and making movies and making a lot of creative endeavors is a very organic process. You can't be too rigid about things. You have to be welcoming new things in order for your project to become more unique, But in order to get to that result, you need to have the tools very flexible at your hand, And nowadays the cameras that we have, I have one of the cameras that I have with me here is a full frame camera that you can buy for $1,000, And with that can create amazing accidents because the visuals are always going to be perfect. And that's what's happening with the kitbasch stuff, is that if you have the object that's already textured, modeled with a proper polygon flow and things like that, then you will end up with a result that is stunning, even though accidental. And the organicity is what's so important, I feel, about this process.
So I was just going through and showing what this looks like. We also have little stars in the background, which you can, when you see the final edit, you'll get to see the cool little touches that some of the team put in here. But just really quickly, I wanted to show kind of how we started. This was it. And in a matter of, it was very, very quick that we then had this, right? So props to David for the awesome directing, and Sparth for the awesome artwork to go after, and kitbasch for giving us stuff that we can really, really quickly make a really awesome story out of.
And to Unity and the amazing team that you guys had putting this thing together, and the amazing technology that you guys are building that's helping to empower artists and filmmakers and game designers everywhere to be able to, take their ideas and really execute them quickly and at the highest level of quality.
Yeah. Guys, that is the time we've got on this. We are going to Hussein is going to be kicking out these shots that are going to be dropped into that storyboard video that you saw, and we will be premiering the final push of this thing tomorrow morning after. I don't recall what part it's in the schedule, but it is in tomorrow morning. I believe it is right after our first demo. It'll be somewhere in the morning. Don't miss it though. And David and Hussein, we can't thank y'all enough for the immense amount of effort and preparation that went into making this thing, as well as your incredibly sunny dispositions here joining us today. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
People in the chat, be a thunderous applause, please. I think this was amazing. Gentlemen, we'll see y'all again very soon. Reach out to us if there's anything we can do in the meantime.
Sounds good.
Stay
Have a good
safe.
one.
Bye.
Oh
What a
man,
day.
that was super cool. We have one more special guest who will be joining us here. I want to throw at the end of our regular programming a huge shout out to Playgrounds. Our producer Jacqueline and our tech director Vika and Leon, who is creator of Playgrounds, who actually is our special guest. I just spilled the beans. Will be coming on with us here in a second. But after a day with many complications, they worked tirelessly in between yesterday and today to fix some of the technical bugs and make this show run super smooth. I didn't see a single F in the chat today. So enormous shout outs to them in the Netherlands. They are unbelievable teammates and partners. You are watching Game Day as part of Lightbox Expo. We are kitbasch 3D coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. Max, there's a contest here. What's that about?
Yeah, we have a contest going on right now. Go to kitbasch3d.com, get your free Neo City sample mini kit. You can make something with it, post it on social media using the hashtag KB3D contest. You'll be entered to win. We're giving out free kits, software licenses, paint overs, and portfolio reviews from some of the judges. Can't speak. Some of the guests.
You're doing it. You got this.
Some of the guests from Game Day are going to be doing the judging for it and be giving paint overs and portfolio reviews.
Yeah.
So jump in there, make something awesome, post it to social.
And coming up here in just a moment, we have Leon from Playgrounds in the Netherlands, which we're incredibly excited to have him join us. Jacqueline or Vika, if I'm missing anything that we're supposed to be saying before we jump to these interstitials, let me know. If not, I just got the you're good. Actuality, thank you for the F, keeping us on point. You all in the chat, love you guys. We'll see you in just a second. Check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest here, straight from the Netherlands. Please give it up for Leon. Leon, what's up, buddy?
It's very, very good with me. And that's also because of you, because I'm having a great time night almost here in the Netherlands with you guys serving one of the best shows I've ever seen. So it's so inspiring. I see so much really great developments. I see inspiring speakers. It's like top notch. Well done.
Thank you. Coming from you, that is a massive compliment. For those of you joining us now, Leon is the creator and creative director of Playgrounds. And Playgrounds is one of our favorite events every year. We've been the last 2 years, but we went to Eindhoven and Berlin Playgrounds last year.
Really quickly, Leon, in your words, what is Playgrounds, the art department, for anyone out there who doesn't know?
Well, Playgrounds is a festival experience that shows top-notch creators, inspirational companies, studios, like what's happening on the world these days, and try to be the catwalk of visual development, animation for games and the film industry. And we always try to be like ahead on what's happening and who's going to be the next big talent in the industry. And yeah, you guys were there, so it's always like a good show, and we're trying to make like a huge experience for everybody. And it's actually sharing knowledge in the most open way. So we are not like a commercial party that every dollar in your couch. We share everything we have for as less as possible, because we think, and especially in these difficult times, that we should share and hook up. And even though we're isolated, I think we're more connected than ever. When we try to do that online, we also do that physical, and be really open and help each other to empower our skills and make the best out of it, and have like a great time all together and make great stuff. Yeah, it's imagine everything. That's what we try to do with each other. Yeah.
One of the things I love about Playgrounds, when I first went there, walking into the actual venue, I was like, okay, this is something different than anything I've ever seen. You know, not only was it just massive, but it really was an experience. You know, there were so many little nooks and crannies of weird experimental things, and I kind of got exposed to a bunch of areas of art and design that normally I wouldn't, because you guys are pulling from so many different areas to find who are these unique voices, who's doing something interesting. How do you go and find those people?
Oh, well, I really not focused on just one thing. So I really like fashion, I like graphic design, I like games. So I have like quite a broad interest, and maybe that's also a pitfall. But in that sense, I like everything. And I try to see the great overlap of things. So where does, like, if you look at Ashthorpe, there's like a graphical approach to it. It's total difference than before because of Disney. But I also try to look what is happening in comic. But then on like more also the interactive part of it, like new developments, what's coming fresh from the Art Academy, and try to make a balance between like the hot top big studios and just the persons who just are like exploring the world and don't have a job yet and working from their room, and try to make the best out of it. And putting them next to each other gives a really nice contrast, but gives also a quite fresh view, because otherwise everything starts to become a little bit mainstream. And I try to have like showing the best, but also have like some turns to the other sides, and have like more the bleeding edge. So what's actually happening on that where it becomes like amateuristic and professional, and it's fresh. So we at Playgrounds, we are not so afraid to fail. So also next month, on the 8th and the 9th of October, we start also with a hybrid edition. So we have a live stage with computer cameras, and actually the audience will see it. And we have, what we also try to do with your new kitbasch, because I was like really inspired by like having the opportunity to use it in engines. So we invited a really nice studio called iSupply and 250K, and and that's the problem with Corona. Like the whole event industry had like a massive crash down, right? So Armin van Buuren, Tiesto, like all those dance events are like all canceled. So they didn't have that much money. They didn't have that much work. So I challenged them to use your new kitbasch opportunity to work real time in engines, because they do real-time shows. So I challenge them to make our titles, and it will be interactive titles. So all the announcement of the speakers that will be at playgrounds will be interactive for the audience to explore through the whole kind of cities that they are going to build. And you will see little elements of the events. Maybe it's also good if you have like a little clip, and I think you have, because I know the producers who did it. So to show them a little clip about like how iSupply use it in these and game technology and game assets, how they use it in real-time live events, like with Armin van Buren. Maybe you have like an impression of this.
Yeah, totally. I think, I love how you say the visual catwalk here, and being on the cutting edge of things is so evident at one of your events, Leon. And I think you have such a love for spectacle and an ability to get people excited. And I think, immediately as the pandemic hit, you guys switched and did an online event in April that we were very happy to be a part of. And now the event you're talking about now is coming up next month, right? It's in October.
Yeah, it's the 8th and the 9th of October, and it's online, but it's also live. So It's the first steps within the Corona context to see what's doable, even though there's like a huge problem that we are trying to make the best out of it. And you will see how we are going to do that.
So then the company iSupply, who's made, Tiesto and Van Buren live visuals, is making the opening interactive titles. Let's take a look at their sizzle reel, their company sizzle reel real quick, give you a sense of what's going on.
Yeah, let's.
Man, that is so awesome. Their work is fantastic. So they are now building in Unity, which was the software we just saw on the David Levy demo.
Yeah.
They're building the opening titles for the art department in October, as well as making it interactive, so people will be able to walk around in it too in virtual space.
Yes, that's what we're trying to do. And they are making it both. So we will give it like a cinematic trailer as an opening screening. And then it will also, at the same time, it will be released and people can play and walk around and see what they've made of it, and having like a kind of a virtual event experience as well. Yeah.
It is so cool. We are very happy to play a tiny part in helping to provide assets for that project.
It's not a tiny part. It's not a tiny part. This was actually the inspiration about, like, we were looking at how can we use this kind of interactivity in what we're doing, and actually you guys were providing it, and the iSupply was already using kitbash, and they also saw this opportunity to make a nice collaboration in this. So thank you as well.
Oh man, we can't wait to see it. And something that we've talked a lot about together with you is something that you exemplify so much is this idea of collaboration and collaborative partnerships, making the world go round. And especially in these trying times, how important is it in your head for people to team up, for us to make things happen together?
Well, it's incredibly important, because it's like a huge problem and it's a crisis, but it's the time to experiment and actually to explore new possibilities. So if there was no corona, we were not doing all these online events. So that's already, people are developing quite rapidly. So we are also collaborating in this, Playgrounds and kitbash, and try to make the best possible live stream. And that's like already a collaboration that will help us in the future. And it also means for people like are doing live events or shows and musicians, etc. There are all people that we're now collaborating with because they have the same kind of problem. How can we share our creativity? How can we learn from each other? How can we experiment? Because to be honest, we can't fail this year. Everything is shit. So at least we can make the best out of the shit. So fail is it's not a problem anymore. It's like, it's the challenge not to fail and make the best out of it. And if we fail, it can't be worse. So it gives like a lot of freedom in different elements. And I also think that people are now like in a lockdown or like struggling also in the live action industry, like when you're doing live shoots and all that kind of company, but also people that work for me doing events. They're now making solar panels on houses because they have to survive and pay their mortgages. And I just brought them back to our companies and to see like, okay, let's try to make an event safe. Let's see how we can visualize events in a different way so that we can connect people from all over the world. Because one thing that really touched me is that with our last online events that we did, I to be honest, I wasn't like so keen on it because I was sitting next to my washing machine, seeing our show go live. And normally I'm a backstage guy. I like running around on events and like seeing it all happening with everybody together. And I was sitting like behind my washing machine and a 1, 2, 3 show. But then I actually saw like that 7,000 people at the same time were watching our show and 40,000 at the end. So we were like, what? And then I got like the responses from Pakistan, from Mongolia, from Peru, for people that say, okay, Leon, we are normally not like possible to come to the Netherlands or to meet these kind of people. But I feel so connected to the community. And it was like from Pakistan, it was like, it's impossible, but I actually have the first time that I feel that I'm like part of it. I'm really part of a creative event. And that's what we're doing for it. So there's like a huge potential in what we're now exploring for everybody, and also to learn from each other. So I didn't know anything about the creative industry in Mongolia, and now we are connected with them and we are learning from them. And the same with all kind of continents all over the world. For Africa, that you don't normally see what's happening over there. It's like so inspiring what's happening all over the world. And I think these kind of things and collaborating with them will enrich our visual language, because I think everything will become like more and more mainstream, and we're looking to like this specialty because of Instagram. Everybody is like copying each other and like want to look the same, like some of the heroes that you're showing. It's almost copied fan art, and what we're trying to do is to bring those people together and explore a new visual language and bring it to a next level, because that's what we're trying to do, right? Making new stuff that inspires us.
I couldn't agree more. And for us, the reach around the world is so mind-blowing to us. I think it still hasn't fully sunk in. I think the place where it impacts us the most is actually when we end up at a place like Playgrounds, when you're doing the live events, and it's like, oh my God, look at how many of the users and people who we've met through Twitch channels are now here in front of us. And it's like, I know your screen name. And now we're together and we have this relationship, even though it's the first time we're meeting. And it's the same way with doing a live stream like this, being able to have guests from over 20 countries this weekend, which we would never be able to get all of them in one place without, serious hurdles. And just the chat in general of we get to start our relationship or continue our relationship with so many people who we just see your names popping up. We see your questions, your comments, your support. It really is an amazing thing. And I think you nailed it with, this situation that, yes, it's tough, but it's also liberating and allows us to explore these new mediums.
True. So true. So
Leon,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Give us the dates and how people can get more information on the art department coming up in October.
Yeah, check out our website, weareplaygrounds.nl, 8th and the 9th of October. Join us, discuss with us, explore with us the possibilities. And if you have like great ideas, please get in touch with us and let's see if we can collaborate. We're always open to new opportunities. Yeah.
Awesome.
And check them out on Instagram at We Are Playgrounds as well. You can see a ton of inspiration, and speaking of inspiration, thank you, Leon, for everything you do for the community and for everyone on your team who's just absolutely incredible. And we can't wait for this event.
Yeah. Well. Good luck with another day tomorrow, and I will be there for sure because it's a hell of a show. Well done.
Thank you. We're gonna play the Playgrounds trailer, and then we'll be right back to.
Oh no, we're done. I'm done for the day. I'm playing the Playgrounds trailer. It's a big finale.
I'm confused, right?
We're gonna sign off with you and play the Playgrounds trailer,
and then we're gonna come back on and say thank you.
Oh,
yep.
Never mind.
Thanks very much. See you guys. We'll be
right
back.
Guys. Bye-bye.
Later, Leon.
We need to change. We're not alone. I can see it.
Person that's watching your advert, you're borrowing their time and you need to be respectful of that, so make it entertaining.
You can enjoy the process and that'll allow you to access the full potential of what you can do as an artist.
You are officially in tune to the Harry Mack freestyle experience. Shout out We Are Playgrounds, y'all. Simple, or I can boost up the syllables. Supercalifragilistic, expialidocious. When it comes to rhymes at the top of the mind, you know that Mac is the dopest.
And it makes us happy. I feel we get utility from creating and finishing something and saying, I did that. It gives us a sense of satisfaction. Happy, sad, happy.
Oh man, y'all! I can't believe we are here at the end of day 2.
Yeah,
what
crazy day!
What an adventure!
I want to see how many of you guys have been here all day.
Yeah, please. Who in the chat has made the whole roll with us? It's you can see there's been a 5 hour and 15 minute stream. You guys. Yeah, thank you. Your participation in this thing in the chat is why we do this. This is our opportunity as kitbasch and as a company here to get to connect with you all and get to say thank you for allowing us to be part of this amazing digital art industry with you guys. It is the absolute ride of our lives to do this and to get to once a year do an event, something like this, usually every year. Last year it was going around with playgrounds in Europe. Means the world to us. We are here to enable and inspire your creative journey, and we're here to help this virtual frontier, this next evolution of where we're heading as people into computers. We're here to help shape that, for us to have a positive impact. And you guys being so positive all day long in the chat, being so kind to one another, answering each other's questions, bringing, clapping for the guests when they come on and leave. It's so amazing. We together in this crazy time of 2020 still have the ability to connect with one another and still have the ability to bring positivity into each other's lives and to give to that. We at kitbasch talk about the fire, and we talk about imagine you have a fire, and our job as everyone as part of it is to bring wood to that fire, to help that fire grow. And so each one of you participating here with us or out there telling your friends about this, you're bringing wood to the fire with us, and together we're making this crazy bonfire.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in and for being here, for being active, for supporting us and for supporting kitbasch, and for supporting all these amazing artists. Go and follow these artists. Send them something good. There's a lot of negativity on the internet so often, and our community is something that is super positive. So, if you liked what someone said or you liked a piece of artwork that you saw today, go send that artist a message.
Yeah.
It'll make their day. It doesn't matter how big of an artist you are or how many followers you have. Saying something positive to them is always going to cut through and be what propels our community to be something positive. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And
I want to send some huge shout outs to Bobby Chu and the Lightbox team. Lightbox Expo, as you guys know, is going on all over the internet right now. We are a small part of it and very happy to be here with it. Also, enormous boatloads of gratitude to Vika and Jacqueline, who are also from Playgrounds, who have been running the show, who work tirelessly to make this thing work today. Massive.
Wait, on that 5.5 hours on this stream with people from many different countries coming in and out and not a single crash or F in the chat. I mean, they are the best at what they do. So thank you, everyone at Playgrounds, Jacqueline and Wicca and Leon.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Huge thanks to our team too, to the Hints team, to the Kits team, to everyone behind the scenes working hard to making this thing go.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Be good to each other. We'll see you. We got an amazing show tomorrow. One more time again, it would mean the world to us if you showed up and hung out with us one more time before we sign off at the end of game day at Lightbox Expo. Be well. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Okay, everybody, now that our building's ready, let's jump in and do some painting. That's where the real fun happens. Okay, so now let's cut our building on, and let's welcome it to the neighborhood properly. So our render came in perfectly. Now all we gotta do is add a little bit of lighting and really put it in our scene by giving it the proper atmosphere, making it feel welcome, making it feel like it belongs. Make everybody happy. Okay, so we're painting in a little atmosphere, a little light haze. So you can see right here, we got all this smoke and all this beautiful atmosphere and life through this scene. And what we want to do is just very easily cut our opacity down and just ghost some of that atmosphere right on top. Just going in, having a little fun. There's no wrong way to doing it. And if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So now let's go in and add a little bit of light to this. What we want to do, we want to take our layer here and change our mode over here to screen mode. So there's a little bit of sun poking through all this dust and haze. Okay, this is in a really good place now. Now that we got this building, we have the right amount of atmosphere, the right amount of shading. It's about in the scene where I want it to be depth-wise. Okay, look how fast that was. All right, so now that we have the atmosphere taken care of, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add our lighting and our texture. That's going to be fun. I'll see you there.
So the advantage of 3D over 2D is simply that you're able to move through space, basically. If you're interested in photography, I would strongly suggest learning 3D because it'll allow you to understand all the finite details of how cameras work. And you could test any camera's abilities as much as you like because you have an infinite amount of choices. I always think like, what would Stanley Kubrick do with like the 3D programs I use? You know, it'd probably blow his mind because of the choices, you know? But I also think it's really important to be inspired by the reality of a real camera and understanding how that mechanism works, understanding how light works, how to capture moments, and letting that feed the CGI. Because a lot of times I think with CGI, it's so easy to make something that's lifeless or dull or dead because it's so perfect and it's so pristine. I'm always thinking about the intention, like what am I trying to say here and what am I trying to do? Am I making something that moves? Am I making something that's still? Almost always, it comes from the intention of the emotion that I'm trying to evoke from my audience at the end of the road. It's the most amazing thing to make an imaginary, completely produced world and be able to move around in it and see it real time. It's like, come on, it's the best. You're basically making your own worlds.
Today, there is a digital art revolution. Almost every aspect of our daily lives has an aspect of design and art involved in them.
I believe that we're in the Renaissance age for CGI. It's creating this really exponential rate of growth that's amazing.
If you took a student from today and teleported them to 20 years ago, like they'd be considered like an industry-renowned artist for the quality of the work that they're doing.
Techniques that professionals use were once these hidden secrets. Like you have to work next to this guy and, you know, pass through the gates of approval for sit next to this guy for like a couple of years and then he might show you a trick or two. But nowadays with technology and software, internet, people are learning a lot about technique.
We're all students of it and I think it's really important to constantly be a student of art because there's one thing about art that no one will master it.
Before the digital age, everything used to be hand painted. And you cannot just explore this random cool idea because the investment of time in painting something it's really deep. But in Photoshop, you can say, hey, you know, I wonder if I can put something here really quick. Let me just block it in.
For our industry, what's exciting when I think of the future is that tools are coming that we can't even imagine that are going to be so much fun to use.
Today's day and age of digital tools is helping the world of concept design expand tremendously.
You know, whether you're 12 or whether you're 25 or 40 and you have an interest in the arts, specifically the entertainment arts, you know, it is a growing industry. It's an industry that hasn't stopped growing since the birth of cinema.
If you're watching this and this like gets you excited, then I say 100% you need to dedicate all the time and energy you have in understanding what it is what we do, and really understanding the basics and getting yourself into it, really. You know, there's only one way to approach this, and it's like head first, 100 miles an hour.
Hey everybody, have you ever wondered how they make all that amazing art for video games, movies, and television? Today, we're going to explore the world of 3D art. Let's get started. We have our existing scene here that we've already painted. These guys are hot, they've had a hard day, and they need some shade. So the one thing missing from this scene is a building to cast some shadow on these guys. So, let's go over to our 3D program, and we're going to get a kit from kitbasch 3D. All these wonderful buildings. This kit in particular is called the Warzone kit. Look at all this fabulous detail. Look at this. Someone went in and modeled all this stuff right here so you don't have to at home. You just got to buy the kit and then get out and start playing. And I think this guy right here is probably my favorite. Look at all that detail. So I'm going to get this building and bring that into my other scene. There we go. We're going to call it friend.obj, because who doesn't need a friend? I know I do. I'm going to place the building just like I want it. What we're going to do next is we're going to take this building into another application and light it and texture it. And that's where the real fun happens. Get ready.